Hey, we are live. We're live here at Mimi's Global Cafe. Hey, Matt Wilson.
How you doing, Mimi?
Thanks for being here. So this is Mimi's Global Cafe. We are talking to Matt Wilson of Matt Wilson and his orchestra, also of the Twilight Hours, also of Trip Shakespeare, also just, let's see, sonic heart surgeon, truth seeker, musician, singer, songwriter, harmonica player, piano player, guitar player, drummer.
Questionable in all those. Strummer, for sure.
Excellent. Oh, check it out. Okay, Steve, lots of people are here. Okay, Steve Frisbee's here. Hey, Steve Frisbee.
It's awesome.
And who else is here? Kara's here.
Oh, Kara.
Hello. So at any point, if you want to ask a question or make a comment or whatever to Matt and myself, feel free. You want to feel like the whole deal here is that we're hanging out at a cafe together and people come and go. We talk about everything. We talk about nothing. We talk about music. We talk about life. And so you are part of the conversation. Everybody that's out there is part of our cafe conversation. So that's what we're here about.
Hey, Rick.
Cool.
See you.
Rick is here too. Hey. Okay, cool. So how is your day today, Matt?
Wow. I had a busy day today. A video, the orchestra, my orchestra, debuted a video for a song called Petty Thief, and it was super fun. And the cast of characters that are here now are familiar also from watching that debut. It was interesting. It was a process that I'd never been a part of before, which was on YouTube, you can set something to just, I can't remember if it's premiere or debut, but it just goes off for everybody at the same time, everyone who's lurking at the page, and then everyone can comment at the same time. And it was very exciting to me. Anyway.
Did you get the, I got something in my eye there. Did you get the 3, 2, 1, like the whole countdown?
Yeah. Actually, that was kind of the one, the funny aspect about it is that they've got kind of lead-in music. They kind of quiet the crowd with, I think, maybe full 3 minutes, 2 minutes of really kind of over-the-top space age music. They kind of jump the shark on their lead-in music, and then and it's really loud and it's powerful synth music. It's pretty cool on its own, but it was just kind of took us all by surprise. But I don't know, we're good.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like you've got an opener, a little opener.
Yeah.
And then they get,
Yeah, I liked it. That is everyone kind of settled down and I was happy.
That stock footage is amazing.
Isn't it? So I looked around for stock footage. I've been trying to figure out how to make a video for that song for months. And then that all got interrupted right when the whole pandemic lockdown set in right around the end of March. We had scheduled a video in a store. So I had arranged to have a little store in Minneapolis available, and we were going to do kind of a dancey thing with this dance troupe called Black Label Movement, where all the dancers were kind of constantly thieving and taking things out of the store, and Quillen, the banjo player, would be like at the checkout place just watching people go in and out. And so the store would just kind of get emptied out in this kind of repeating dance thing. And these dancers are really great. And I know that would have been really cool. I think it would have been. And we were also going to do a little bit of stop motion with hands and vegetables kind of marching out the door too. But that all fell apart. And then, and so meanwhile, I was kind of looking around for cool stock footage, and I just couldn't find any. It was all very modern and actorly or stupid or corny. And then not too long ago, the orchestra made a version of this song, Petty Thief, that was just us all doing our own versions in kind of a Zoom grid, all overdubbed, not live, so we could be synced, but each in our own house. And that turned out really cool. And so I was excited about that. And I thought maybe we would take that and just have that be the background for the album version as well. So we'd have two versions where we just took that kind of live version and just put the album over that and synced it up. But then Fela, the harp player, encouraged me to figure out a way to make its own video for this. And then I went back again and looked around for stock footage again. And then I found that kind of treasure trove of anti-shoplifting propaganda. And those cute little actors, those sweet girls that are the actors in all that footage, or a lot of it. They were great.
Oh my gosh. They are so great. And what's so fun about it is it has this kind of, the song has kind of a timeless feel and this airy, this kind of, it's just completely timeless. So to feel like you're traveling back in time and have that be the backdrop was huge. I threw up a question here really quickly from Kara. Yeah. Is that dance troupe the same dance troupe? The dance troupe that you were going to do the music video with, are they the same folks from the When I Was a Writer?
When I Was a Writer, yeah, that gang. They're called Black Label Movement, and their shows, about once every season they do a show, and then they travel and they do it in New York too. They're super cool, and their shows are amazing. They're kind of almost violent. They're very physical. And it's just it's exciting. The costumes are super vivid. Yeah, so I'm always excited to try to work them in.
Well, did you ever see the movie The Umbrellas of Cherbourg? It's a great movie. I mean,
that's one of my very favorite movies. I can't believe you're mentioning that. I love that movie.
I love that movie, but there's this just sense. I'm picturing this, small Minneapolis shop and a dance routine that kind of comes in and comes out and just sort of completely shifts the energy of that shop and brings it to life. Like you could almost do it in like Technicolor or whatever that special color was in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Yeah, that movie is art directed beyond belief. Yeah, every scene is just a color feast. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I threw up Rob's "Been Caught Stealing." I love that Jane song.
Yeah. But that's like the original Shoplifter song right there.
And awesome. Then, okay, so now Kara's got another question. Didn't Trip Shakespeare do a live show during that movie? Did you do a live show during Umbrellas of Cherbourg?
Yeah, it was a movies in the park. And we played first, it was one of those things where the band plays and then everyone stays and the movie plays afterwards. And
oh, cool.
Yeah. And that movie is incredible. It was super cold and my kids were there, little baby kids. And so I had to go. So I saw the movie later, but I knew it was going to be great. And it was better than I thought. And I don't know if everyone knows this or nobody knows this, but that movie La La Land is so beholden. I mean, it's got the same kind of suspended, no particular ending. Like it doesn't end one way or another. It ends like life, where it doesn't solve itself perfectly. Umbrellas of Cherbourg is. It's just so amazing. It's so unreal and so real.
Well, yeah, because it has this feeling of, you've got your set or you've got your real life environment, but the characters, they really feel like they're suspended, not like they're literal marionettes or puppets, but that the energy of it is just kind of suspended and there's a space to the characters and the movement.
One way that that the movie is kind of, it doesn't lock itself down in any particular thing. After I saw that movie, I got on Wikipedia and just had to learn all about that movie. And there's a particular type of a plot, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's something you've heard, but no one knows what it means. I sure don't. I didn't know before. But that movie has no villains. There's no bad guy. It's just circumstance is the bad guy, or, is cruel or unpredictable. But that's more real. Like, who really has a villain in their life? Really, except America. Sorry.
Except America and the world. Aside from that little thing.
Yeah, I guess I can't really believe that anymore. I used to believe that people didn't have a villain in their life, but now I'm questioning that. But for the most part,
well, we all
in your life, like, there's no villain. That's reality. Really? Like, there's people that you have friction with. There's no villain. There's no one who's out your enemy.
It depends on who you are, right, Matt Wilson? Because you might not have an enemy. I can't imagine anybody being an enemy of Matt Wilson. And if you are an enemy of Matt Wilson and you're out there, I want you to comment in the thread, because we want to have a little showdown here.
Oh, no.
But no, you're not going to have an enemy. But there are some people that have the tendency to be polarizing or whatever.
I suppose. Yeah.
And I do think that, and one of my little threads in here, I think the enemy is always, to go deep right away, is like the enemy within, right? So like, we all have a crap ton of demons, and those are, not that I'd say that they're like the enemy and you want to shoot them down, but they're like the enemy that you have to be beholden to and befriend and connect with in order to actually maintain your sense of humanity and not go nuts.
Interesting. My bro Dan also. So it's been a super busy day today. And another thing that happened was my brother just had a Instagram concert where he just played solo on his couch, and it was really beautiful. He does it very well, and the songs are so great. And he played a song that I requested, which was touching. And it's a song called Hello Stranger. And it's got one of those twists in it that's almost like a country song, but it's very, where, at the end, there's a new meaning for something that you heard before. And it's about this hello stranger. And at the beginning of the song, the stranger is his partner, whoever he's with, but it's always you and me, stranger. And then at the end, when he's on the diving board, people who know this song, and he's looking down and he sees himself in the water, and then he sings the chorus again, hello stranger, and the stranger is him. It's kind of like, the other you also. And it's just, it's one of those great turns. I love it. It just moves me.
I love that. I'd love to see the lyrics all laid out, to see how the perspective shifts, or where it flips. And it could almost be like the logic could be a palindrome, where it actually both, like, you could read it one way and you can read it backwards the other way, and it works.
That's right? What this song does. Yeah. I was just thinking about some other song, but it's funny with songs. I find that when there's just one little meaning that, my wife, Jen, was talking about this song, Crazy. She was listening to that song, Crazy.
Like the Patsy Cline Crazy, the Gnarls Barkley Crazy.
Patsy Cline, written by Willie Nelson, Crazy.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And that song, it's got these little shifts in it, where it's crazy for trying. So it's like, it's nuts for trying. Crazy for loving you. She's crazy, like she's going crazy. But then there's another meaning of the word crazy, where it's just like, like you don't understand a chance. That was a stupid thing. It was a bad bet, kind of crazy. And just those little switches where the meaning of the word changes, it activates your mind in a way that it draws you in. And it's just a funny thing. It's just a little trick. But that song Crazy has just like, the meaning of crazy keeps changing. And to me, I find that just makes it deep. And it's just wordplay, but for some reason it just it gets you.
Well, it's wordplay, like you said, but it also, everybody makes their own meaning about it. Like, I'm sure there are tons of songs where you've written a song and then somebody comes up to you and tells you exactly what that song means to them. Yeah. And you just kind of like think, wait, like that's not anything like what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah. One time I had a song called Descender, and I was traveling, we were playing behind it, and someone came up to me and said, Matt, just check this out. And so later on, it was like a paper, it was for school or something, or, but it was just a dissection of that song Descender. And to me, it was like, I didn't recognize any of the thinking that was in it. I'm sure it was all totally valid, but it wasn't what I was thinking at all. But it was like this kind of like, learned dissection of the thing. And it wasn't at all what I thought. But it's totally valid, but I wasn't thinking of it that way at all.
Well, and it's translating. So like I had this, in the 90s, I was in Spain, and I was teaching English at this high school. And so I thought, well, let's engage these kids. So this week I'll ask them to give me a song, and I'll translate it and I'll bring it back, and we'll use that for vocabulary. So of course the song that they picked was Losing My Religion by REM, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
And
like, I think most people my age at that point had no idea what Losing My Religion was even supposed to mean, like in English,
It was like the most hilarious class the next week when I was like, okay, I was directly translating it. But then they were like, yes, pero por qué? But like, why? Like, and I was like,
not helpful.
Not helpful at all. But one of the things that I loved about the Petty Thief video is that you actually listed, going back to the words and the lyrics, that you put the lyrics there, you put the chords there, and you made this comment to people, take the song, make the song your own, almost, encouraging them to evolve the song for themselves, which I thought what was it that inspired you to do that?
Well, one thing is that just when I bring a song into the orchestra, I just, we start out with the chords just so we have a common place to just start jamming it all out. And so those exist. And then, who wouldn't want people strumming their song, and so I just toss it in there because it exists, and I want people to play it and learn it, and it's gratifying to me, if that happens.
Yeah. There'll be a whole litany of little baby petty thieves everywhere.
An army
of petty thieves multiplying.
I'll be the Fagin leading a band of child thieves.
Almost like the Lollipop Guild, Okay, so first of all, I'm going to make another announcement for people who may have just joined recently. If you have a question or you have a comment, you can put them in the feed. We will see them and we can bring those into the conversation as we go. But so one of my questions for you, Mr. Wilson, is that
I'm reading through these nice comments.
They're so nice. You've got such nice people. Your voice and the orchestra, and your intentionality on the instruments that are in the orchestra and how things are orchestrated. And I've heard you say multiple times that I was looking for a way to create space for my voice to be in this band. So it's not like overpowered drum beat or anything like that. But I find it so beautiful that as an artist, that you take the intentionality to create this space for your voice to breathe. And I love that. And I'm curious where you learned to do that and how, if that's been like a progression in your artist's journey, or how that's happened.
It was a progression. I always, it's easy to play electric guitar because the strings are thin and, it's less painful. That it's a great way to learn how to play guitar, is electric guitar. And electric guitars are powerful, and pop music is, for the most part, has always been more electric guitar than acoustic. And so I started out with electric guitar, but I found out pretty quickly that there was something, because my voice has always been a little bit cloudy, and it doesn't compete that well in my mind with distorted, powerful kind of trumpeting tones that sustain. Just my voice doesn't peek through that well to my mind. And I found that when I played a Rickenbacker, which has kind of a strong attack, it's more like an acoustic instrument, whereas it sounds plucky even though it's an electric guitar. It's more like a banjo-y kind of sound a little bit. A lot of attack, and then it goes away quickly. And so I learned, really, that was my first guitar, and I tried other guitars, and I found that my voice kind of came through this Rickenbacker better than other guitars. And so I always knew from the beginning that there was something better about kind of plucky sounds that have a ting at the beginning and go away quickly. Mm-hmm. And then as time went on, I just kind of decided that that's what I really needed to let the words come through and the melody better with just the instrument I've got. And I bet most singers, either consciously or unconsciously, surround themselves with instruments that make their instrument sound good. I would imagine that. So
did you have a sort of whether you know them or not, but mm-hmm. like an aspirational vocalist or mentor that you're like, oh, wait a minute, like I love how that singer did that with their band?
Oh God. Yeah, it's all like my most favorite performances sound nothing like me. It's like I feel like I'm kind of scuffling in the like right around the sewer, just kind of working my business where I can. But like the ones that I really love and aspire to, like Cilla Black. I know I always talk about this one song, but I just love this her version she's got of You're My World. I just love it. And she's got a brassy, powerful, trumpeting voice. It's amazing. So the ones I admire like are can do things that I just can't do.
Yeah. I remember in a voice class at one point, the voice teacher was like, okay, so what song, would you want to sing? And so of course the song that I said, this was early 2000s. I was like, well, A Case of You by Joni Mitchell, which mm-hmm. you can tell by my speaking voice, there's no way I could ever sing A Case of You by Joni Mitchell.
I don't know. I can't hear that in your voice.
I can, but just because of all the things that she does with that song. But yeah. I do think that that's kind of a natural thing to be attracted to a voice that has completely different elements than the voice that you have.
All the stuff you can't do. Yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on a second here. Okay, so we have a question. We have a couple questions coming in here. Kara asks, didn't the Queen of Tomorrow have a blue Rickenbacker?
Yeah. And I have a blue Rickenbacker in my basement as well, which is, yes, correct. That, yeah. And I love the sound of the word Rickenbacker. I love the sound of the instrument Rickenbacker. It's great for a rhyme like that, or just to stick into a rhythmic song. That was the first
Rickenbacker sounds like you're on a. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was so this first guitar that I ever got was this blue Rickenbacker, and I looked at it in this store. It was really messed up. Like it had basically someone put like the whole hollow part of it was just carved out, and someone put the whole like Formica or some like thick plexiglass that's like full quarter of an inch thick of plexiglass over the whole front to cover up this experiment that someone had done where they'd removed like they'd carved out the whole F hole, the hollow part. It was all messed up, and then there was like some teens, some like a 12 or 16-year-old person's like Sharpie drawing inside of it of their initials. It was just a travesty. It was destroyed, but it still sounded good, and the neck played really well, and it was all spray painted blue metallic, and then this white atrocity of a front. But it was really amazing in its way too, and it sounded great. So that was my guitar and inspired me so much.
So it was spray painted blue. Was the Formica spray painted blue, or did it just not stick to the Formica?
It looked like a beetle kind of. It was like white with this black, inexplicable black part of Formica that would fit in there really nicely. It was really nicely crafted, but just like complete like 8th grader kind of project.
It just seems like the stray dog of Rickenbackers that you like adopted. Yeah,
and actually, it got lost and it came back to me too. I played a show in Minneapolis very early on in my career, and it was at the Uptown Bar in Minneapolis. And afterwards, it got stolen. It got stolen somehow while we were loading out, and then maybe like a month later, it appeared on a local music store wall, and someone came to me and reported, said, "Matt, your guitar, you got to go down to Benedict's Music. Your guitar's on the wall down there." And so I went down there, and he sold it back to me out of kind of for what he put into it. And I was just so happy to get it back, but it got away from me, and then it found its way back. So it is like a dog.
It is like a dog. That it always makes me sad when I hear the stuff got stolen. Now you have to buy it back.
Yeah.
Scenario. It's just like it's insult to injury.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some questions coming in. We've got one from Stuart here. Do you write more on a guitar now, or is the piano coming into play as you're getting older?
Piano, totally. Piano all the way. It's it's a funny thing. I always everyone is like this, I think, in some ways, where you just kind of, there's some stuff that you consign, there's just certain activities that you're like, well, I could never do that. I'm not a piano guy. That's for the really magic ones that, that can think in chords and stuff like that. And so I always kind of stayed away from piano. I just was convinced that wasn't for me. I needed to keep it simple. And then I started doing it when my kids started taking piano lessons, and we got a piano around the house, and then I couldn't get me off of it after I started realizing that it's not that hard, for one thing, and it just unlocks it frees you to kind of find chords that much more easily than you can with guitar, where you much more, I find myself much more locked into these habits and these easy kind of bar chords and stuff like that. So piano has been revelatory for me, and I kind of do most of my writing on that now, for sure.
Do you think that that's because you took piano, like you took on piano later, and that you were so much more comfortable at guitar that became habitual, and that the piano broke you out of your habits? Or do you think it's actually about the piano as an instrument?
Little of both, but I think more of the latter. And because what would you think that maybe everyone knows this, but Dylan writes songs on piano, McCartney writes songs on piano. These are guys that you never see, or you don't associate them with that, but that's where they do it. So that's my understanding. Yeah. So it's I think it's something about the way you can just as easily access that note as that note. It's all there. And so then it just kind of encourages you to like, well, maybe that's a minor, that's a major. Well, I don't know. It's like, all of a sudden you're thinking also, you're making up bass lines. That was another thing. I was like, well, I'm not talented enough to think in bass lines. I write words, I do chords, and but that's kind of my thing. And then now I'm like playing piano and I'm coming up with bass lines, and I've got all these opinions about how bass lines should be now, because it's just, it's like the lesson, I guess, is just like, you can do it, just bust into anything. Don't put some rule on yourself that you can't do it. You probably can. No, that's my.
So has it shifted how you write the songs, like in terms of lyrics first, melody first, kind of back and forth?
No, I don't think.
Do you have a no?
No, because it's like if it's whatever I think of, usually in my dreams, or it's like if I'm in the morning, I try to just write whatever comes to my mind in this journal or something like that. And then, if I find something that's interesting, that a turn of phrase could just be a little, a couple words or something, or else it's this idea that's like, all right, this is something I feel strongly about, so that'll lead. Or it'll be just a melody I think of when I'm lying in bed, and then that'll lead, and then it's just piano becomes the medium to kind of nail it down.
Got it. Have you been having any of these strange quarantine dreams? Everybody talks about having much more, vivid, intense dreams lately. Has that been the case for you?
A couple, but I'm not recalling them right now. They like they're vivid for a little while and then they go away, and I don't know. But yeah, here and there. I mean, definitely, I feel like the quarantine is rewiring my mind. And a coworker of mine today, I told him that, and he said, yeah, no doubt. It's like you can feel it just kind of like rewiring you a little bit in this way. Not entirely pleasant to go through, but I mean, we're all like getting rewired a little bit, I think.
I feel like it's when you decide to go behind the computer and deal with or not even the computer, like you try to go behind the TV or your hi-fi or whatever, and you're pulling all the wires out, and like then what you have to unplug everything first,
right? And
then it's just a mess, and then you have to start re-plugging it all back in, and you don't know if you're plugging it into the right spot or not. It's just mental.
Yeah, well put. I think that feels right. Yeah, our whole family. Plus, like we've got I've got 3 kids, and I'm sure you can relate. And they're all teens, so they're getting rewired anyway. But like, yeah, so we're all rewiring at the same time. It's like it's a mad experiment.
Well, and then with all those, especially with teenagers, then there's the opportunity to cross wires, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Lots of opportunities.
And the other thing that I've noticed is that stuff just comes up, like something that would be a normal thought that might just go like a cloud, now like comes in and then turns into a deep dive. When it's like, no, that thought should have just been a cloud going by.
Yeah.
Why does it have to turn into quicksand right now? Goofy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've got some more questions here. Let's see. From Rob. Okay, he's MAWA, Make America Wilson Again, which I love. He loves When I Was a Writer. Thanks, Rob. It's an amazing record. That's awesome. So, are you writing more songs? Are you writing more songs in the direction of the orchestra? Are you spending time revisiting the Twilight Hours solo, siding with the renewed semisonic, Trip Shakespeare?
Yeah, thank you. I have been doing some of that thing where I've been just kind of learning to play songs on different instruments. I've been playing the song Bonneville on piano, trying to get a kind of a barrel house version of that. I've been working on new songs that on guitar. So on acoustic guitar. So either kind of quite old or new. And not too much Twilight Hours right now, just because it's more recent and it's not novel as kind of going back to like some old ones for fun or trying to probe ahead, you know. So, but I am I'm trying to get my shit together in terms of learning my finger picking stuff that I've been working on, and getting more piano chops. A guy that has been kind of with me for a while, Kara's brother, Eddie, gave me some advice about how I was playing piano. That was so welcome. And so I've been working on that and trying to use his advice on how to get better at piano. He got me like sitting a little lower. I was kind of sitting up too high and doing weird things to my arms and stuff. And so he was straightening me out there. And then he's got this technique that he mentioned it once. And I was like, no, I'll do your thing with the seat, but teach me this technique. And it's where you use this rotation. You kind of think of your index finger as the center, and then you like get your power from doing that rotation. And I'm finding it to be revelatory, and it's really fun anyway. And so I'm trying to do that too. So that's good. You're sort of doing, drills. You've got like instrumental drills and no, I don't.
creativity.
I don't have enough time for drills. I just, because I have so much to learn otherwise too. So I just do that as I play.
As you're playing the new stuff. Yeah. Okay. You're not like going back to Hannon's and like doing.
No, I just
doing arpeggios every day.
Enough hours in the day. Yeah.
No.
I don't need to be that good.
No. Okay, we've got 2 questions about potential shows. We've got Jim asking, any chance of a flop reunion show in the future?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that'll be me and John, and we're gonna play again for sure. There's no chance in hell that we won't. Of course, we will.
Awesome, yeah. Jim. You get an 100%.
Yeah, that's 100%, no doubt.
And then Cyril has a question also. Any plans to play with Dan again?
Oh, well, yeah. Quillen, who's the banjo player in the orchestra, texted me the other day and he was like, Matt, now during the pandemic, you and Dan have to do a show together. You have to figure out some way to play together. But it's always me like saying, hey, Dan, like this would be a cool thing to do. So whether it happens, who knows? And I didn't even mention this to him, but Dan, if you're watching this, we should figure out a way to do a show together. It might be fun.
Dan, everybody wants it. Cyril wants it. I want it. Matt wants it. Quillen wants it.
Quillen wants it. I was really touched that it was like he had this midnight revelation. He was like, man, you got to texted me with that.
People probably ask you this all the time, but there is this like magical thing that happens with siblings when they either play together or sing together. It's just this kind of like natural, literally physically natural harmony.
Yeah.
Like, what's that like to be in?
It is magical because it's so easy, and I don't think it's because we did it a lot together. It was kind of like the first time we really kind of started doing it. It was just like, okay, this is always going to work. It's like, that's for sure. And it was funny because when John first started singing with Dan and I, that was almost equally like, all right, that's so easy. It was just like, he just kind of like solved Dan and I. It added that kind of, manly, total, fullness to it all. Yeah. So anyway, it feels like a privilege, like when you have that someone else that to sing who sings like you and just kind of magically fits. It's incredible. I can't believe have been so blessed to have had that in my life.
And as you were growing up, was it something that like you're like you always got along, your parents encouraged things, and it was just, I picture like almost not the Sound of Music quite, because you're not like fleeing from Nazi, Nazi invasion, but like just the camaraderie and the fun and the creativity. Was it just like heaven?
It was really like, so I was 2 years younger than Dan, and Dan was just, he always had been flowering with invention and ideas, and he was the man, and I followed him around and did what he did, just because I watched him draw. Dan's an amazing artist, he really is, and he would just draw, and he had a rapidograph, this cool pen, and I would just watch him draw over his shoulders for hours, and I'd go get him paper and just get him more paper, whatever he needed, and that was fine. And so it was it kind of wasn't until we were in college where it became like a more equal thing, because up and like he wrote songs in high school, like these kind of jazz fusion exploration songs, like he liked Jean-Luc Ponty and who's the guy, Bright Size Life, I forgot his name, Chick Corea, but also guitar player, anyone who could think of the Bright Size Life guitar player. Anyway, and then I just played drums along with that, and so that was kind of my role on that. But then we got really creative, more so when we were out at school together.
That's cool. Hey, you know what? We have a special surprise guest, somebody that's kind of waiting in the wings that wants to join us. Okay, Jacques, if you're watching Facebook Live, you're going to go live. Here we go.
Bring him in here.
Is this thing on? Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything. You're right on time.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good. I'm having a blast COVIDing just like you guys.
Pandemic the hell out of it.
I dig it. I know. It's kind of cool. Everybody's a little bit nicer, a little bit better behaved. It's just starting to get a little bit unruly like normal the last week or two, which kind of blows. I like COVIDing. I mean, COVIDing has been good to me. I can't complain.
The thing is, I like it too. I like it. Anyways, I like having my family trapped with me.
Ooh, a captive audience. See, now that's one thing. And that's one thing is I don't have the benefit of being anybody's captive audience.
Yeah, you're not mine anymore, sadly. Yeah, no, I like it too, and I like being at home all day. Like all this
Nobody
stuff.
wants you to be anywhere at a specific time ever.
Right. It's good. Yeah, so it's it's got its good points.
Oh gosh. Well, okay?
I don't even miss bars. Who'd have thought? I do miss playing music with people. I miss playing music with people, and I really miss getting haircuts. I miss getting a springtime haircut. I'm hair courtesy of COVID-19.
Yeah, look. Thanks, COVID. No, I'm liking your shaggy dude.
Yeah. That's easy for you to say.
So when's the last time you got a haircut, Jacques?
July.
Shut up. Last July 2019?
No, July 2020. Yes, 2019. And not 2018 either. I'm sorry. That was That was
no,
like,
it's fine.
yes, it was 2019.
Okay, so some of that's on you. It's not like, oh my gosh, I haven't cut my hair since February. You haven't cut your hair since July, so take some accountability for that.
He was in the process of getting the most out of his last haircut, getting a value out of that haircut.
You know, it was a good deal. But I'm thinking about going the Fela route with the concentration camp deal.
Yeah, Fela might show up later, and she basically shaved it all off. Did she pull a Sinead? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, so she said she'd make an appearance here. She's got a few minutes left here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I haven't cut my hair or colored it or anything. And it's
it's a good thing you don't need it.
It's long. You know, I've thought about it though. I recently watched I don't know if you
but it's the color of gold. You ever think about that? That's a feature you have that most of us don't have.
Well, okay, well, I'll take that. But I did recently watch The Legend of Billie Jean. And if you don't remember this movie, Billie Jean has long hair. And then she goes rebel. And when she goes rebel, she cuts her hair off like Joan of Arc because she sees the movie Joan of Arc. And I thought, oh my gosh, because I've had short hair before. I love short hair. So I've thought, like, this is basically what I'd look like with short hair, right? Because you can't really see the ponytail, right? So it wouldn't be bad. I could just cut it all off. Ken Goodman will, like, have a conniption fit though, so
that's Mimi's man.
But I actually kind of do like it, but it gets snarled. Like you gotta brush the snarls out. Do you have you might have snarls. Do you have snarls when you wake up in the morning? Like your hair gets
I only have the snarls on the front part of my head.
Just hard snarling.
I wake up with that snarl, but no, I don't know. No.
It's just naturally flowing. It just flows. Yeah.
So, Jacques, so do you have any favorite things that have happened or that are, and this question is for you too, Matt, that have happened that would not have happened? Like you watched a show that you went back to watch, or you reread, you know, the Lord of the Rings, or you like anything fun, like what's been your like a singular inspiration?
Personally, well, I'm the closest that I've ever been to being purely nocturnal these days.
Oh yeah, what are your hours nowadays?
Lately, I've been going to bed at about 11 a.m. and sleeping till about 6 or 5 or something like that.
You finally achieved your nocturnal.
Well, I had some work. I had some mixing work, and I wanted to get the stuff done. I'm living 25-hour days pretty much. So when you do that. Each day gets 1 hour later, 1 hour later, 1 hour later. So pretty soon, 5 a.m. becomes 11 a.m. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Wow, you're like a possum, right? Don't you go with
possums? Do possums do that?
Yeah, like really ugly, gnarly teeth. Oh, crooked.
Baby possums are cute. Okay, wait. So if you go to bed at 11, when do you wake up?
5 or 6.
And so then do you eat breakfast for dinner?
The first meal of the day is breakfast. So right, I have that. I have that probably at a similar time that you are having dinner.
So okay. I have an opposite kind of schedule where I like to wake up. My life has to plug into the regular old work day, and so all my best hours are before work. And so like I wake up at like 4 a.m. and like get as much as I can done before that. And so Jacques and I are just like, it's very hard to schedule stuff. It's always someone always has to like sacrifice sleep in order to get together.
Not. It's not much of a sacrifice.
No, not for music.
I'm picturing your souls like high-fiving as one goes into the other, like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody's going to sleep and somebody's going, and you're like,
well, we've had plenty of email exchanges.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of email exchanges at 5 a.m. that are pretty direct.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no. It's a time. The beauty of 5 a.m., whether it's morning or night for you, is that no one's bugging you. You know, you're all alone.
Midnight until 6 or 7 is the most effective time for that. Yep.
I love that.
I love that. So Matt, if you didn't have to plug in to, typical workday, do you think your circadian rhythms are naturally set for being a morning, like a morning person or a night person?
I'd gravitate as later so that I could be with musicians better. I mean, for sure, I'd just start going later if that was convenient. But it's not.
So how about you, Matt? What interesting has happened during these COVID times?
Oh God, let's see. I've read a bunch of books, and I'm reading Cannery Row right now.
Well,
Jacques a big Steinbeck guy, but it's not blowing me away. It's not blowing me away, I gotta say. But I'm working on that. I read one book that I really like, and then the more I look back on it, I really love it. And that's called City of Thieves. I've read a couple of Russian books set in Russia in a row, and they were both good. But City of Thieves had a really good, fun story. It was, fast moving and super, super cool. What you got there?
On the beach.
What is that?
I mean, it's an apocalypse book. It's an apocalypse book from the late 50s. I'm just about to start it. I haven't yet, but it's the idea is that everybody talks about the end of the world being like, oh, this big catastrophic thing, when the actual end of the world comes in more like a whisper than a scream. It's like everybody just silently stays at home, kind of like people now stays at home, and civilization goes away and everything just slowly and quietly dies.
I have the power to eject you out of your chair, Jacques.
Okay.
If you're going to depress us like this. I thought about that.
That's cool. I like that.
No, this is just a glimpse, into the future, I guess. But it is an accelerant too. I mean, it's just sort of, smaller independent businesses are closing, whereas Amazon is flourishing like never before, which is, I mean, that's been the trend for the last 25 or 30 years. So it's an accelerant on that, it seems like.
Yeah, I've been on an Amazon, like anybody that says, oh, yeah, I just got it on Amazon. I'm like, get the fuck off of Amazon. Get the fuck off of Amazon, like right now. And I'm sorry, I'm cursing in like the worst way possible, but that's how bad it is. Like, we're not even going to have like, J.C. Penney or like the Limited or the Gap or something. Like, we won't even have like big brands, let alone small businesses. It'll just be, and they're so hellacious to like people who have to sell on them. They're so hellacious but you have to be on there. Like, you're stuck to Amazon.
They're winning.
Not in this house. They're not. Well, not on my watch. They're not winning. I don't order anything on Amazon. I don't even have Amazon Prime anymore. And that's a sacrifice for me because I love Amazon Prime.
I've given myself a bit of an education on World War I, which is the first time that's happened since the early 80s.
What is that?
What is World War I?
Are you watching shows or like?
Oh, yeah, okay. Like, you pick a good documentary as a navigator, and then when they talk about something, you're like, whoa, what's that? Then Wikipedia is a good one. Plus, there are more specific websites that are full of information.
Yeah.
So Jacques, I've got a book for you then.
What's that?
It's called The Lovely War. And I can't it's possible that I might have recommended it to you when y'all were staying at our house. Remember when you stayed at our house? That was so fun. But it's called it's called The Lovely War, and it is a young adult book. Doesn't feel like it, but it is. It's a young adult book, and it's about a romance that happens during the Great War in France, and it's told through the eyes of Greek gods, and it's amazing.
Whoa!
So it's called The Lovely War. It is so good. It is so good, and it's one of those things that there are little bits and pieces of things that I knew but didn't really like understand, and one of them is that like if you were, in the soldiers that went over to France, if you were an African American soldier and went over to France, you could not fight for the United States. You had to fight with the French, right? Like you couldn't fight with us. You had to fight with somebody else. So in any event, so at that time,
so that's like
of the
preferential treatment, it sounds like.
Well, but what's interesting is so many musicians went over there and they brought a bunch of jazz. So they influenced the jazz age in France because they went over and they were not accepted nobody was accepted by the US, but they were accepted in France anyhow. But all these like little nuggets, but The Lovely War, and it's super fast and super fun read. Lots of history.
That's crazy. The told by the gods thing, that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
I know.
Rob
It's
Shapiro
pretty cool.
appears.
Oh, I've got another World War I book for you, Jacques.
The World Remade.
The World Remade. Good one. Puts today in a different, more nuance. Really, yep. Yep. And Kara just finished reading Les Miserables, which is great.
Can you read that? Is that something? Is that a book? I didn't know that.
I mean, you could read the book, like, but I'm pretty sure it is a book.
How do you hear them?
When I say book, Kara can tell us. She'll type it all in. She'll type it in for us what she read. If it was the screenplay or the book from the theater or the book. Okay, so we're getting close to an hour here. I want to make a comment to everybody that anybody that wants to chime in, ask. Oh yeah, Victor Hugo, of course. Josh, have you seen They Shall Not Grow Old? Okay, here's another World War I thing. There's a documentary, They Shall Not Grow Old, about World War I.
I don't know that one. Yeah, I'm into it.
That's kind of a poignant title right there.
The United States wasn't even involved in World War I until the very end.
I didn't know that.
Yep, until like the last few months they came in and took the brass ring. But it was very close until the United States came into the picture, though.
Well, that's because we're, in many ways more heroic and brave, and powerful and more righteous.
You guys are wanting to like make me throw up in my mouth a little bit, right? Is that so? I'm in the middle right now. I'm reading this book called Where the Crawdads Sing, or The Crawdads Sing. Anyhow, it's by Delia Owens. It's amazing. She's a biologist and she writes about this woman that lives in the marsh. I'm reading it for book club, and it is so good and so beautifully written. It's like you feel like you're living in the marsh in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It's just, to almost like see the gulls and feel the gulls and to hear the sounds of the marsh and everything. It's just been exquisite. I can't put it down.
Crawdads singing. Who knew? I didn't know they could sing.
Yeah, out where the crawdads sing, like as far out as you can go. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So I've said this again. Questions. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Kara. Yeah, I read that book and it was amazing. Crawdads. The ending is great. Okay, I haven't gotten there yet. No spoilers. Spoiler-free zone.
Come on, Kara. Ease up on the spoilers.
So now that both of you are on here and we've covered some very deep, intense ground like World War I, I'm curious, both of you separately and, and together, what was it like having the album come out like right at the beginning of all this stuff going down? Like, what did it impact you? Has it changed what you feel about the record?
Yeah. Jacques, I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, we were all geared up. I mean, not only personally, but professionally, I mean, that was going to be a major part of my job for a couple of months, was the support we were doing on this record. And then, so, I mean, not only personally disappointing, my accountant isn't very happy either. So,
your whole business staff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't complain, things are fine and everything, but so that was a real disappointment. You go to do something fun and it's raining that day, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of a drag. I mean, it's got to be a real drag for you, Matt. I mean, come on, you do all that work and it's like, here we go. Like, oh, well, maybe next time. Yeah. But you're still getting positive feedback and stuff. That's great.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been fun, but it would have been better, driving around and playing shows and stuff like that and trying it out in different places, getting better as a group, and then building the next record as we go and stuff like that. So that there's it's been happy and it's been a joy. It has been a joy, but there's some sense of loss of what could have been as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was planning on going you guys were supposed to be in Milwaukee tomorrow night, this weekend, right? You guys were going to be opening. Who were you guys opening for? You were going to be opening for Velvet, for the Verve Pipe, right?
Yeah. Well, they're from East Lansing, Michigan. They went to Michigan State the same time I did, and those guys were kicking around the music scene. Yeah.
Oh.
I would be curious to see who. I would be curious to see who goes and sees the Verve Pipe in 2020. I was excited to see that.
Hey, Molly, thank you for making the note that you asked the question right before Jacques popped on, because I did miss it because Jacques was coming on. Is the pandemic or quarantine showing up in writing? I'd love to hear your lyrical genius take on this mess.
I can't quite make that out myself. Thanks.
Here, wait, let me get out a flashlight so you can actually.
It's not evident to me.
There, can you see? Yeah. Can you see it now? Can you see it?
Yeah,
Can you see it now?
That's better. Yeah, all right, there it is.
Okay.
That's a nice question, Molly. To be honest, I've had a couple ideas related to it, but I haven't. I'm not sure any of them are. None of them have come to fruition, and so it hasn't happened for me yet. Coming up somehow digesting pandemic in music.
Anything right now? And,
is that your mom?
So how about if I call? So how about if I call you back and just?
Because we've got all day here.
I thought he said mom.
All right, goodbye. No, I call everybody mama.
Was that your mom?
No.
It's okay if it's your mom.
It wasn't. Mom, I don't talk to my mom on the phone.
No, Molly, I haven't written anything about in the pandemic. No, I haven't. Maybe I just haven't digested it enough, or I'm just still kind of like still reeling from it a little bit, or figuring out who I am in the midst of all that. So, not really. No, it's a good question, but there's been no revelatory breakthroughs in that regard so far.
There's this weird thing. Well, it's not a weird thing. It's just a thing, which is you guys know about Kubler-Ross, right? And like the stages of grief and stages of change.
Yeah,
she's got a change curve, right? So you've got the stage of denial. You've got different stages on this curve.
Right.
And what's so interesting is that like right now, in any given day, at least for me, I can be at any point on the change curve. It's not like I'm going in one direction in the change curve, but I might be here one day, here the next day, here 1 minute, there the next minute.
Yeah.
And so it is really, I've had this weird sensation of trying to locate myself. Like sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, where am I today? Or I forget who I am. And I have to, one night I seriously forgot who I was. Like I went through and I scrolled through pictures and pictures and pictures. And it was until like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then finally I was like, oh, I think I've pieced together the puzzle and now I can go to bed. But if my friend Doug used to say, he was my old roommate, he would say, Melissa, you're getting too existential. It's time to go to bed. So
yeah, those thoughts happen at night.
They happen at night. And that's when Jacques is up. That's when Jacques the possum is up.
Yeah, making sense of it all for all of us.
So are you making sense of it, Jacques? What are you doing in the wee hours, aside from like you're probably mixing and that sort of thing, but are you going into these deep nocturnal thoughts?
Sometimes, sure. I mean, it's easy to get lost in your thoughts when you're not interrupted. It's mostly playing guitar, though.
Have you been playing a lot?
Yeah, a lot. I'm asking my upstairs neighbor.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing a ton too.
I miss playing with other people. I feel like I'm ready to be unleashed because, I've been playing probably as much or more than ever every day. I'm excited to get back at it for real.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's how I feel too.
And hey, Elizabeth, I see your question about lyrics first or the music. And Matt was saying earlier, a little of both, right?
Yeah, it is a little of both. It's kind of whatever, just whatever kind of comes to me. If I'm when I do write in this thing once in a while, most every day, then sometimes lyrical ideas will kind of come out of that, and then I'll write some of those, and then it flowers from there. But other times it'll just be a melody that'll occur to me while I'm sleeping, and I'll wake up and sing it into one of these, or I'll just be screwing around on a keyboard mostly nowadays, and then so that'll happen first, and then the melody will kind of almost make me remember some lyric or something just from the melody or the mood. So it happens both ways. There's no
excellent. And then this is something, Matt, you and I talked about this for like a millisecond, and it was right before the record release that we did virtually on YouTube when you all played in Fela's studio surrounded by harp.
Yeah.
That was the last time you all played together, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Are there any songs on the album? It could be all of them, but are there any songs on the album that you now hear differently or that you now make a new meaning of because of what we're going through now?
Yeah. Actually, it's that song Petty Thief. And Kara, who is just kind of, she's just been a friend of mine for a long time, just from the web. And we've just kind of grown close through that. And she mentioned that she thought that song Petty Thief related to the whole pandemic, just the way it there's something about something once you hear that song and you think about the situation right now, it has a mood of it, kind of. There's something about it that resonates to it.
Kara just like the barnacle on your boat.
No way. You're like the lady on the front of the boat, like the wooden carved lady, like the mermaid on the front. At worst, if you're on the boat, that's the part you are. But you're actually like the Captain Ahab cracking the whip. But yeah, that song, it's got a part in the middle. Would you take sunny days and your funny ways when you run away? Would you take? I knew you'd take it all away. So that one kind of feels like it's about that a little bit. And it's got a little bit of a poignant aspect to it too, which feels right. So I don't know, at least it harmonizes with the situation right now.
It's certainly, well, and the other thing that I think about is with a petty thief, you don't necessarily realize that something's missing right away. And then you're going about your day, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a new realization. So that's kind of like the petty aspect of it, right? Like you go to you're in your pocket, and that thing in your pocket's not in your pocket anymore.
It ain't there.
Christopher, I don't know if that's Lamb or Lamb. Anyhow, has a great question here. So I've heard many of your songs evolve over time through multiple projects. I would love to hear if you think, is a song ever done? I love to hear how they change. This has really helped me, this has really helped my writing also.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Jacques has been through tons of evolutions of my songs. They change a lot. I think a lot of people think that they're like more ingenious than they are, and it's really hard to write a great song on the first shot, I think. And so and it's not like because I'm like have great self-awareness or anything, but I think I'm insecure about the songs I write, and I see what's wrong with them all the time. And so I change them a lot and try to make them better. And it's a headache a little bit, Jacques, you got to admit, it's a bit of a headache when they change.
Well, I've had my heart broken a few times from love and attention and appreciation paid to certain versions of songs. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it's but I appreciate the evolution also.
Yeah. So they do evolve, and I feel like they keep getting better. And I like a lot of the songs that I like the best of took a really long time. That song Petty Thief, people like that song, and that had a number of different iterations, and it changed a lot. The bridge used to be the chorus and stuff like that. It all, and so I think it's okay if it takes 10 years to write a song. I would say, Christopher, that would be my advice: is take your time. We're not all Paul McCartney or genius songwriters. Almost no one is, and so it takes a lot of editing. I know poets go over their poems, like the amazing poets. They talk about how they go back over and they change it. And great writers of prose also do many, many drafts, and they go over things over and over. And that's part of their genius, is this desire to keep improving it. That's part of what you consider part of what we consider like talent is actually work. It's practicing so much until you seem like you're a wizard, but actually you're an ordinary guy that just practiced so much you seem magical. I don't know. So and so I think working a song for a long time is really legitimate, and it's just, you have to not make your friends totally miserable, changing them all the time. Jacques, thank you for your patience all these years.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the songs. Thank you for the songs that I got to be attached to.
Yeah, my pleasure, of course.
Well, and then the other thing that I think about with songs is once you write the song and once you put it out there, it's like it's out there. It's like a child. It grows, it evolves. There's the toddler version that you totally love. There's the teenager version of it that you love. There's the adult version. There's all these, and then you put it out there like you did with Petty Thief with the chords, and you tell everybody in the world, make it your own.
That's
so
it.
then
it has the capacity to have multiple lives. It can be a country song, a reggae song, a goth song, whatever, you know what I mean? Like it takes on its own life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I wish in my life I could hear more cover songs of my songs. Someone said, I can't remember, someone said that the Flat Five from Chicago should do Petty Thief just so they could hear the bridge just done by them.
Oh my God. They would slay it. We'll have to ask them.
I know. And so I know I was like, yeah, you know, and I think that they got like, it was on Twitter. So anyway, that was just like, I wanted that so bad, you know, like, but that's a lot of work.
We'll talk to Kelly. We'll talk to the folks, you know what I mean?
Right.
I know I have that sometimes too. Like when last year we did a memorial concert for Andre Williams, who was a very good friend of mine and Kenny's, and Kenny was his musical director for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And when we created that memorial concert, there were people in my head that I was like, okay, I want to hear this person do this song. You know, there was a song called Let Me Put It In. That's really a raunchy song. And I knew that I wanted a woman to sing it. Right. Or like, I really wanted Kurt Elling to sing some of his songs, but Kurt Elling didn't live in Chicago anymore and that wasn't going to happen. But you get this idea of, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great to hear? And it's almost, Matt, if we go back to like the beginning of our conversation when you were talking about Cilla Black, like it's almost like you want to hear somebody who's got a complete different range or unique quality to their voice. Yeah. And you want to hear what they would do with it. Right.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Wait, let's see here. Okay. Rob, love the extra verse that you threw in at the end of the orchestra version of Toolmaster.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, is that version. Thank you, Rob. That version, that was hard, Jacques, wasn't it? To get it, like, to stand up and walk. I felt like that.
Yep.
We knew that there was something there, but that took a lot of like.
Well, it's hard to not try to parrot the original version and just learn it and try to play it like that. To have it exist in our ensemble is a pretty. It necessarily, I think, has to be a pretty different version from the original.
Yeah.
So working that out did take some work.
It did. It's just returning to it and just like, just trying different ways to make the groove walk.
Oh, and then Rob says, and to remember the words.
Yeah, it's damn near impossible. Yeah. Oh God. That song, hey, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just I'm going on a tangent to another one of Molly's questions. Mm-hmm. So you just go. Well, Molly just wants to know. Oh, you go.
All right. When in the old days of Trip Shakespeare, that Toolmaster, was super fun, and I would always kind of do like this just improvisational rhyme in the middle of it, and it got so that I was basically just like so wound up and nervous about whether I'd be able to like think of anything every single night. It was driving me crazy. And so like that's one thing that like in my life I just had to let go, because it was just it would give me so much anxiety. It would be so fun once I finally get going, but I'd always be like, oh, I'll never think of anything. Sometimes I didn't, but anyway, that song, remembering the words, like coming up with words, also both.
Coming up with them and then remembering them later.
Remembering them, coming up with them, everything. Maybe we should wrap it up, because I have a strong belief that you don't want to like outweigh your well.
No, I am with you. We're almost at 80 minutes, and I was going to make sure that we are wrapped up by like 88, because there's something about the number 88 that I like, but we can wrap before 88 minutes. Jacques, you've got like a very groovy vibe going on in your sphere over here.
Oh,
I don't know if you've noticed that, and Molly wanted to know, this is Molly's question. She wanted to know what's behind you, what's on the wall behind you.
Isn't that amazing?
that was done by a local artist. She goes by the name Unruly Julie. I forget what her actual name is, but she used to, and when there would be an outdoor concert or a street fair or something, she would have large sheets of paper and just paint on the street. So I watched her do paint that in like 10 minutes or so. But she also has more crafted works of art. I've seen a much cleaner version of that in a gallery before. Her stuff is kind of like Keith Haring, as you might imagine, but it's not as scrappy or jagged or energetic as that one is. I love it.
Oh, it's kind of like Keith Haring meets Picasso. It's got a little Guernica action in it.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I love it.
And it just dominates Jacques' living room. It's just,
it's like 6 feet by 6 feet or so.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
Evan's here. Evan Petty. Evan's one of my Minneapolis friends. Hey, Evan. Nice to see you. Okay, so yes, we shall wrap it up. And so we want to, what would be like some golden words? How do you want to leave people? And actually, this is one last chance. You have one last chance to ask a quick question. Don't make it too deep because we're leaving. We're saying sayonara. Let's see. Thanks for the, okay. You're welcome, Kara. You're welcome. Okay, so how are you guys leaving this call? Like, do you feel like you're in a good spot? Like, I personally feel so grateful and so, like, my heart is so, it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Like, my heart feels so full to have this dialogue with you because I just love you guys so much. And it's wonderful to have this little moment. I almost feel like you're here in the basement with me.
I've been in that basement. It's very nice. I wish we were there now.
Yeah, you slept in this basement.
Well, thank you.
The overwhelming feeling I have right now is just nailed it. Like, I just really nailed it. This interview, I nailed it.
You so nailed it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's nice that as a musician, like you spend like so much of your time like getting ready to unleash stuff on people, but you're not with them, and so then there's always this like big huge wall between you and people, and so this has been a great chance. It's healthful for me to just break through and hang out and just be a stupid idiot in front of everybody, so that like it just kind of breaks down any like illusions or anything that Jacques and I and you are just regular, and it's a pleasure to hang out with you two and also with everybody else. It's a wonderful, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks you guys for allowing me to crash this party. This has been a lot of fun.
I am so glad you did. I'm so glad.
Thank you. Me too.
I'm so glad you did.
Nobody knows what Jacques sounds like. He doesn't talk too much in front of people, and he's the funniest guy.
It's good to not talk too much.
I agree. Because when Jacques Wait talks, people listen.
Yeah.
And it's true. No, but actually,
thank you for that.
No, but it is, you actually you're poised, and that when you say something, people are like, oh, yeah, like it's
really
a very good. Yeah.
Well, I never knew he had a speech impediment, huh? I think that's mostly what people get out of it.
No, you think
no.
About that.
That's not that, and that's not true. But it is one of those things where you're like, oh, wait a second, I actually need to pay attention. Whereas I have the opposite. I feel like I have so much stuff to say that it just comes out like like a fire hose. And so I would like a little more Jacques in my
No doubt.
vocals.
Everyone needs to know that.
That's nice to hear. Thank you.
We can all use some more Jacques. That's I think that's right. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Probably
Thank
not
you.
me, but if other people feel that way, that's very nice. Thank you.
But thank you both for just acing this interview. I'm giving you both A pluses.
Thank you.
Solid. It's solid. If you haven't, the antithesis of nailing an interview, I don't know if you've seen this, it's been floating around the YouTubes, but Dick Cavett had on this actor, I can't remember what his name was. He was on some 70s show, and Lily Tomlin, and he was making all of these misogynist remarks, and Lily Tomlin just stands up and walks out, and they think that she's joking, and she wasn't joking. She never comes back. So Jacques, you saw it?
Yep.
It's phenomenal.
No, it's great. I'm a big fan of both Dick Cavett and Lily Tomlin, so I think that showed up on my YouTube recommendations right when it happened.
Yeah, it's
funny.
It's
awesome. He was talking about his wife in kind of an ownership capacity or something like that.
He owned her. He liked it.
Yeah, I think it's a tribute to you and I that as we were talking, Jacques came in. I mean, I think that says it all. It's like rather than walking out, he came in. So I mean, we were doing something right.
That's right.
I mean,
and he didn't want to leave.
Yeah, he stayed the whole time. He didn't walk out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody who sat through this with us. Thank you, Mimi. It's been great.
Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to turn this off, but hang on one second.
Oh, okay. Anderson.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Goodbye.